Whoa, that was almost a professional transition there. I don't even know who's here. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Beve for moderating for us today. It's a pretty exciting day today. So I need to do some housekeeping first. If you want to have a question, make sure you put question marks in front of it so Beve and I can catch it in the chat. I have questions in front of me here, so you watch me looking down. I'll be picking these up and asking questions that are coming from my Friends of 5 Watt group, also from people that listed them on Instagram. But before I bring Rick in from the green room, I'm going to do his intro, so he can't scoff at the stuff I say in the intro. The music behind the timer, Rick and I were laughing about how dark it was. And the stuff that was in the chat about dark matter and stuff, we were laughing. I'm like, yeah, if anybody makes it through the Lydian Sharp 9 piece, they really want to be here because it's some pretty dark stuff. But it's beautiful. It's actually a piece of music that Rick wrote for a video on Lydian Sharp 9 really, really early in the channel. And I remembered it as being particularly beautiful. So I went and got it for the countdown timer today. Rick Beato has been a guitar teacher in a music store, a music professor at a university, a guitarist in a rock band, and a successful record producer. He's produced gold albums, and he co-wrote a #1 song. His YouTube channel is one of the largest in the world and is on the eve of hitting 3 million subscribers. And while I ramble on here, you might want to go ahead and subscribe. And Rick and I will probably talk briefly about why it's important to subscribe, even in these enter years of YouTube. Most importantly, Rick's been a good friend to me since 1988, when I had the daunting opportunity of studying jazz guitar with him when we both worked at Ithaca College. It was a little strange for me at 27 years old to study guitar with a guy who'd already finished his master's degree at New England Conservatory, who was only 25. He's 2 years younger than me. It was pretty weird. And he still is 2 years younger than me. I have 3 pages of questions, as I said, from my Friends of 5 Watt and everybody else. I've got questions piling up here. So let me add Rick to the stream. There we go. Hypes.
What's up, man?
Let's get this out of the way first. So Rick and I, as I said, we both worked at Ithaca College. I guess we were 2 of the fastest talking guys on campus, and we noticed that in each other. And it certainly wasn't because I could keep up with you running. Because
no,
if people have followed Rick's channel, you know that Rick was a track star in high school. And he very casually said to me one time, "Hey, I'm going to go for a run after my lessons. Meet me on campus." And he damn near killed me. That's what I remember. I'm like, well, I don't feel much like Hypes tonight. So anyway.
Well, Rick, Dylan weighs 115 pounds. He said, "I'm so thin, I need to gain weight." I said, "Dylan, I weighed 125 when I was like 35 years old." Right. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Right. Yeah, me too. $140 going into college. So, all right. So I got a ton of questions here today, Rick. I'm just delighted that you're here. Let's do the subscriber thing though, because that is important. It's interesting. YouTube has changed the way they deal with subscribers, but publicists and people's perception of channels are still pretty much driven by subscriber base. What percentage of your viewers are subscribed now, Hypes?
50. Only 43% of people are subscribed to my channel.
So if you're
regularly
a frequent flyer of the Everything Music Rick Beato channel, you should definitely take a second, pop over and subscribe, and let's crank up some subs here. The idea is we're going to get people's attention, and we'll talk about interviewing, and one of the questions here is going to get us into sort of where's the channel going. So I'm going to kick off appropriately enough with a question from Bebe. And Baby wants to know if Rick could have written one song from all the songs that have been written from the world's canon, what song would that have been? If you could have written any song, which one do you wish you wrote?
Probably You Can't Always Get What You Want.
That's not driven by today's mood or anything, right?
No, I was just listening to it and I was thinking like, exactly.
Now I thought you were going to say Angie.
Well, I was listening to Angie too, but then I immediately went to You Can't Always Get What You Want because I thought that was appropriate for the mood that I'm in right now.
Yeah, it is good. It's good. The French horn.
As my favorite, my sister says her favorite philosopher, Mick Jagger says.
Her favorite philosopher. That's great. That's great. Yeah, we got a lot of folks here. It looks really good. Very busy in the chat. Angus Clark's here. Hi, Angus. Hey, Ed. Ed Reba's here. Next question is, Piyush Dahal, one of the Friends of 5 Watt, one of my longest running Friends of 5 Watt, wants to know Rick's opinion on how rock and blues kind kind of became internationally on all other continents, like South America, Africa, Asia. Piyush is from Kathmandu originally. Lives in the Silicon Valley now, but he's originally from Kathmandu. And he was curious how that happened. He wondered if you had a sense of that.
Well, I had nothing to do with it.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. I don't know. People in the UK were emulating American artists, rock and roll artists, and blues artists, and I'm not sure how.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there was music going on in these other countries all over the world. Everybody's got their own.
Well, I think it's probably easy to argue that film probably took an American influence further abroad earlier than after the British invasion. Then it kind of became. I know that one of the things that you said before is that when you're looking at a band's impact, one of your gauges of whether somebody's famous is whether they're known everywhere in the world.
Right. And that kind of stopped with a lot of artists, at least in rock music, after the grunge era.
Yeah,
you could argue that there are certain artists from it's not the same for pop. There's pop artists that are known all over the world, like Adele and Billie Eilish and Ed Sheeran. But for guitar-based rock music, Linkin Park was probably known around the world, but really bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and U2, and these were known in the United States and in Canada and in South America and in Europe and Asia. They were known everywhere. So bands like the Police were known everywhere. They were world famous, and that stopped being a thing around the turn of the century.
Yeah, I was going to say first 2000, right? Yeah. Bill Sanderson, another friend of 5 Watt, coming in here from Flathead Lake, Montana, on the question, has a 2-parter. Wants to know Rick's future plans for your extremely successful YouTube channel. Where are you going to go in the next 2 to 5 years?
I don't know where I'm going to go tomorrow. So, I don't really think too much ahead right now on it. I kind of make one video at a time, and I'm approaching. I have 993 videos I've made. I'm trying to get to 1,000. That's my first thing here. So, where's it going to go? I do not know. It depends on what happens with music. If I feel like I have something to contribute, I'll keep contributing. So,
yeah. Well, and it's interesting. You and I were talking earlier today. We were just throwing ideas around, and I suggested we were talking about doing more videos about women, artists of color, and I rattled off 2 artists. Immediately, both those artists were blockers. And so there's a sense that like Marvin Gaye or Jimi Hendrix are missing from the channel. They're missing because the estates are locking that down. So it's like they're not missing from the Everything Music channel and the consciousness. You talk about artists like that all the time, but you can't make a video where you make something and have it taken right now.
I mean, the when I look at my What Makes This Song Great series, so many important bands like the Beatles, AC/DC, some of the biggest bands are missing.
Right.
So it feels very incomplete to me. It feels incomplete, and it makes me less motivated to do episodes in it because it always bothers me when something is just when I think that the most important people are not even represented in here, and they're represented because the people that run their publishing companies don't feel that they should, that it's important that their music gets out there and heard through YouTube
for a legal reason.
So that's kind of disheartening to me, and it makes me not want to do these things. That's why I don't do that many episodes.
Right. Yeah.
Days.
Yeah. Kane Miller from Florida is going to come by and actually say hi in a few weeks. Kane's going to be in town on his way by. He's interested in knowing when it was that you had the light bulb moment when you realized that you should transition from producing to being able to make a living with the channel? Would you remember like the moment where you kind of went, wow, that's huge?
When I started selling my Beato book, I was making enough money that it didn't make sense to keep producing. And I got to the point where I had to just decide that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to stop producing, which was not a hard decision. I had produced for long enough, and I, had gotten sick of it, really.
Well, and it also kind of coincided with the collapse of the music industry, huge transitional time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was far after that. I mean, the music industry started in 2000. I started my channel in 2016.
Yeah.
But the idea of having people in here in the studio and just tracking vocals and going over parts over and over and over and over, that just gets to be so old after a while.
Yeah, you did it for a long time.
Yeah, I did it for 20 some odd years. And most producers kind of reach a point where they just get burned out. And that's where I was, frankly,
Yeah, makes sense. Declan McMullen from Dublin wants to know, where does Rick get the multi-tracks for What Makes This Song Great series? You don't get this question. People, I'm surprised anybody would ask you.
That's amazing. I got asked it yesterday. Where do I get the question? So I explained on a podcast yesterday, the first batch of a few thousand of them I got at a studio. I won't say where, not in this state, but I traded them for a kick and a snare sample that I won't say whose they were, but I traded one kick drum, less than a megabyte worth, a few kilobytes worth. How big of a file is a kick drum sample,
right? And
a snare sample, for thousands of songs. So that's how I got it. But now, I tell people that if they see the artist in the video, that's pretty much where I got the tracks from. Like Brian May's in my Bohemian Rhapsody video, I got the tracks from him or Seal or whoever.
Right.
When they're in there, I got them from them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Uncle Left Eye says he loves stories about favorite guitars or guitars that got away. I actually know a story about one of yours, but I'm curious to know which one you'll say was a guitar that got away.
I don't know. I don't think that much about that stuff.
Not a gear thing.
Yeah.
One of the things actually people don't probably understand, especially given the shot that we have with the row of guitars behind you, is that there was a time when I was really into collecting guitars. Rick was still producing. And I remember because Rick's very good about staying in touch with friends. And so he would always, we'd be talking about, he's always teasing me about buying and selling. And I used to I still, do some of that. And there was a time when I went past the number of guitars that Rick owned, that you had like 7, 8 guitars.
Right. That was it.
Bases. When you were making records, that's what you had.
Yeah. Because we were using a lot of the same, it was so limited, the amount of the kind of music I was doing at the time, all this metal stuff and all these down-tuned guitars. That's why I have 6 Les Pauls. Well, that's not why I have them now. It's because they're all different colors now.
Then you had 2. Well, now it's interesting. There's still, I think people would see that rack of guitars. There's still tools. I mean, you have guitars back there that fill specific niches, period.
Yeah. And I'm not honestly attached to anyone. I love my signature guitar.
Right.
I love my blue Les Paul. And my Gibson acoustic, but any other guitar I can pretty much take or leave. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right. Cool. I thought you might mention the Les Paul, the black Les Paul custom you left behind with your brother.
We won't talk about that.
Okay, we're moving on.
Although Dave has been trying to convince me to get the Kramer with the scalloped fingerboard from the 12th fret up. That was one of the guitars he traded. So I gave him the black Les Paul, and then he traded that. I forget how this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him the black Les Paul, and then I got a white Les Paul, and then he traded the black Les Paul
for a Kramer.
For a Kramer. Yeah, for a Kramer. And then he had a scallop. That's right. But he got rid of the Les Paul, but he still has the Kramer with the scallop fret. So Dave Honorado said, you should get the Kramer from him.
Yeah, fair is fair.
Right.
You own the Kramer. It's your guitar.
So,
right. It's kind of how I feel when people tell me I need to do a short history of Kramer. Like, yeah, it's on the list, but
why would you scallop the frets? I can't believe that was a thing. I know that Yngwie did it, but it's,
right.
You know,
right. Yeah. Cyclone wants to say thank you for letting him know about Swerve Driver. He never knew the band. He's completely obsessed with the band now. And he wants to know some other relatively unknown bands that you like Swerve Driver.
Boy, I'm so bad at coming up with things on the spot like that. Unknown bands, the Who. Let's see here.
Bands that should be better known now.
Oh yeah. REM.
There you go. Right, people we talked about today already. Yep. Yeah, that's tough. MCCNGA, I don't know how to pronounce that, says that Rick has so much musical talent, he must, in quotes, be playing in a group somewhere that performs around Atlanta. Does he? And where could they see you play live? And is Rick part of a group?
I am not part of a group, and I don't play live.
There you go. That's the answer. Become big enough to end up in Rick's studio. If you want to hear Rick play live. Well, right. You can play live every day on Instagram.
I do almost every day. Yeah. So I don't really have time to play live. That's not something that, that, you know, I played plenty of live gigs, and I'm not compelled to do it. If I was compelled to do it, I would do it.
Yeah.
You know, you got 3 little kids, and, you know, you're married with 3 little kids. It's tough to find the time when you're not making videos. You know, you want to do stuff with your family. You don't want to go out to some bar and play a gig or anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't. Even
if you had just a straight day job, which you haven't ever had, really. So
I never have.
The Charisma, I don't know how to pronounce that. The 2003 Gibson Les Paul faded double cut like yours that he sold, the one that got away. When can he replace it with the Les Paul signature, Beato signature?
September 13th is when it's coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you talk to him today?
Yeah, I did.
Like,
matter of fact,
I was waiting for you to waffle your way around. I don't really know. I haven't talked to anybody.
No, I just talked to the artist rep today, and she said that.
Did she call you?
Yeah. I talked to her the other day too.
Yeah. Okay.
I've known it was coming on September 13th for a long time, actually.
There you go. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
September 13th.
There you go. Vicky Gordon from follows us on Instagram wants to say thank you for doing the Zoom chat with Brian May, and thanks for not asking all the tired old questions that everybody asks about Queen. Same old things. I'd say that probably is a hallmark of your interviewing, is that you will not ask a question that somebody else would have thought to ask before.
Well, it's kind of like playing blues licks. You know, it's like everybody else plays blues licks, so I kind of gave up playing blues licks because it's just something that people do, and I, you know, when people say, how do you prepare for an interview with Sting or whatever, Brian May? And like, well, I've been preparing for 45 years or whatever it is, however long since the first records came out.
It's not like you're cramming right before the interview. Right.
No, I know what I want to ask them. And it's really, I don't even write any questions down ever.
Yeah.
And the key is I just listen to what they say and I respond to that. I don't have any agenda when I start an interview. I have a first question usually, and then whatever happens, happens. It's like improv. It's like a gig.
Right. That's true. That's true. Because we'll talk about an interview that you've got coming up, and you never ask my questions.
I never ask your question. No.
You just wing it. You're winging it.
Right.
You know what question you're going in with. That's it. You know what the melody is, and once the head is played,
or you and I will talk about a video that I'm going to make, and I have all the ideas, and then 3 hours later, a video comes out. It's like, what? I thought you were making this other video. Like,
it was a really good conversation between friends.
I thought about that, and I decided to make a different one.
That's very funny. That's very funny. We had some top chats go by. I apologize I didn't see him. Bill Sanderson, thank you for the top chat there. Jens Larson's jumping in, wants to know if there's a chance. He loves the Metheny and Schofield interviews. Wonders if there's a chance of getting a Bill Frisell interview.
There is a chance of getting Bill Frisell. That's going to happen. There's going to be another Metheny interview also.
Cool. Great.
That's going to be later this year.
There you go.
Talked to Pat already about it. And I have a bunch of other interviews that are in the works. One that I'll do next week, maybe. That I don't like to talk about interviews before they happen.
You don't talk about any of these things before they happen because
you do not know
something else in the morning.
That's right. I don't talk about interviews before they happen because they might not happen.
Exactly. Yep. Mod Cheap Guitars wants to know, how do you deal with record companies shelving the great bands you produced? Did you almost kill someone / develop a substance abuse problem? Did it make you nuts? Basically, that stuff was just put away and not released.
Nah.
You had no time. You're doing the next record.
No, it's just, I realized a long time ago that you don't have any control over any of this stuff. You can't even convince the artists of things.
Right.
Because most of the artists that you work with, they don't know what their good songs are, or they have a manager that's a knucklehead or something, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I just, the record's done. Mm-hmm. As long as the artist is happy with it, the chances of being successful are just about zero. And you go in with that, you're never disappointed.
Right.
Something happens with it, good. It's kind of like the video I did on this Muddy Magnolias song. It's a band that broke up 6 years ago. They recut this song that I demoed with them 3 times, and 2 times they didn't like it. Ended up not putting it on a record, and I put it on YouTube. It got over, almost 2 million views.
Right.
So, good songs will see the light of day eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like Carolina,
right.
Yeah, right. Your number 1 song, right?
Yep.
BB Made Guitars wants to know, what advice would you have for a longtime player? He's lost interest in playing guitar, but would like to find a spark to get back into it.
Is he talking about me?
I think he's talking about him, but you can answer it any way that makes sense.
I listen to music to get inspired to play, typically.
Yeah.
But it's tough to. I just went through 4 weeks of not playing. Then I played for 2 days. Then I stopped playing again. I didn't play today just because I didn't have time.
And I know you've talked about this before, but it's apropos right here. You didn't play for years. I mean, really, you played parts on records, and it was only when you decided to start doing Instagram posts, really kind of teaching that stuff again, that you started posting, and then you started practicing. I
didn't. Even my early guitar videos on YouTube were not very good. I mean, I wasn't. I was way out of practice.
Yeah.
It took a long time. I went 20 some odd years without 25 years without playing something like that.
Right.
So it was tough to.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my last jazz gig in 1991. I mean, when I played with my band Billionaire, we had a few solos, but
right.
It wasn't like it was.
That's not what it was.
I wasn't stretching out over altered chords or 2-5-1s or anything.
Right. Rich Sinner in the top chat there. Thanks, Rich. Wants to know if there's a John Mayer interview in the future for Rick.
There probably will be a John Mayer interview. I knew John before he got his record deal back, in 99, 2000. And I'm sure that I will interview John at some point.
Okay. Nice. Let's go back here. I got some questions left. Here you go. Here's a straight up guitar question. Question for you both. What do you prefer, Strat or Telly? I know your answer.
Well, both.
There you go.
I like playing Tellys. I played Tellys for years, probably more than any guitar on records.
I remember when you were producing and you were going to sell your Strat, and I was like, well, you only have one.
I never played my Strat ever.
You never played it. You never, that's what you said. I never used it.
There's just never any reason to use it on the records I was doing.
And you own Strats now because you use them for illustration points.
I do. Yeah. And I had a Rickenbacker guitar that I sold because since I wasn't playing these guitars, it was other people that were playing them. They didn't want to play them. Nobody could play that Rickenbacker in tune. So I got rid of it.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't think that I'm going to start a YouTube channel, so I'm going to be playing guitar again.
Right. Tools
never really occurred to me.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And this is my last question gathered for the paper here, and then we'll really get on the comment section. Do you recommend using 8s on all electrics, even those that you're using for traditional jazz?
No.
There you go.
I use 8s on certain guitars that they sound good with. And then I have different gauges on different guitars. On my jazz guitar, my Matheny Ibanez that I have behind me here, I've got 11 through 52.
Flat
wounds, yeah. So, I've got guitars with 10s. I mean, whatever feels right on the guitar, I change the gauges around until I get something that feels good on it and stuff. Yeah. And I use 8s on my specials, but I have 9s on some of my Les Pauls. I don't even know what I have. I think I have 9s.
Yeah,
but
we can bring Dave in on the chat, and he can pretend to know.
Yeah. Well, he has the calipers, I think.
Right. He has a better chance of knowing than you or I, but there's just too many guitars.
I mean, you can measure them, right?
Yeah, you can. Right. If you got a micrometer. So,
right.
All right. I'm back into the top chats here. Shawnee is a Cubs fan. What do you guys think of Made in Japan Fender guitars, specifically their vintage reissue stuff? Cheers from Sweet Home Chicago. Rick you're not a gear guy. Rick teases me that I'm the anti-gear channel since that's what
you are, Hypes. You are the anti-gear channel.
I am the anti-gear. You are just not a gear channel.
No, but I have so much gear though.
Yeah.
I got a new snare drum today that I'll never play.
What'd you get?
I got a Keplinger snare, a steel snare.
Somebody I noticed it go by. Somebody asked why Greg Bissonette didn't play during his interview.
Because he can't play. I don't have the drum kit that he plays, which is Dixon drums.
Right. Because he
couldn't play it. He did play my drum kit. I just couldn't film it.
Right. Right. And he played Layla's drum kit, right?
Layla's drum kit. Yeah. Played some bebop on it, even though the stool's about this high,
That's fantastic.
He's a big guy too. I was sitting down there.
Big guy. That's so great.
Yeah.
Bill Mittman says, I assume this is for you. Will you be doing more interviews at the power station, maybe a tour of the facility, and share some history that took place there?
Pretty much every time I'm there, all the other rooms are booked out, but the one that I'm at. So you can't really get in and even see them. And I don't think people honestly would be that interested in the history of that, even though everyone that I've interviewed for the most part has done a lot of records there. Matheny did multiple records there. Sting did a couple of records there. Schofield did records there.
Yeah, I think it's genius that's where you end up doing these interviews, because they're clearly, it's like being at a place that they visited so many times before. Got to be comfortable.
Well, Matheny said that he had spent 2 years of his life there with all the records that he had done. That's a lot of, it's 800 some odd days.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Planet Ross says, as YouTube teacher, producer, etc., how would Rick describe his personal mission? Your personal mission, like why
mission
do you do this?
Because I want to give back to people things that I've been able to learn and fortunate enough to learn with the great teachers I've had. And I just think there's a lack of, in the early 2000s, when I started when I was producing, there were all these websites, gear websites, and people would get on these things and they would just repeat a bunch of false stuff, gear that people used, all this stuff. I won't say, people know what website I'm talking about in particular.
Right.
There was a couple different ones. And it's just people passing along fake information about stuff that people used on records. Matter of fact, on my Instagram, people do this. What is the keyboard effect, or what's the guitar effect, or whatever it is behind when I do my quick lessons? And then people will say, this happens every time. They say it as a fact. Oh, it's a shimmer reverb. Oh, it's an Electro-Harmonix freeze pedal. And I always write in, it's a keyboard, because it changes chords. Those things don't change chords. They hold notes. Right. But the people that comment so confidently, like they know it's a boom, right. It's like, right. It is not that.
Yeah.
It's a keyboard.
Yeah. I remember hearing years ago when I lived in Vermont, there was somebody was talking about a political debate, and I'm not gonna be able to come up with a quote, and I wish I could. They said that people who, wise people always answer hesitantly, but ignorant people answer with surety. Like, ooh, ouch.
Well, I think it's this. It is this.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And not only do I respond to the person that asked the question, I respond to the person that answered like that, and I say that that's not correct.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always just, I made a video about taking lessons with Rick. And somebody said to me on a live stream, you weren't here. Somebody said, what was that like, taking lessons with Rick? I was like, it was hard. Do you think it was probably hard? It was challenging. But like I said, I made a video about it a long time ago. But you've always been a teacher, like in really, producing is teaching to a very great extent.
Yes.
I would say the only time that I could point to, and I wasn't out on the road with you guys in a van, maybe you were teaching then too, was when you were out with Billionaire.
Yeah.
That was the time when you were probably teaching the least.
I was teaching the least then. Yeah. But getting back to the thing about, I see all these things that are incorrect out there, and I try to combat it as much as I can through my channel with giving people correct information on music theory, on music history, whatever I can. Do I get things wrong sometimes? Yeah, once in a while, but I wouldn't say very often.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm wrong about something, if I have a typo or something in it, I will put it in the first comment or whatever, and or respond to somebody.
Right. Squash and Fries says, Rick, what's the interview that you want that you haven't done yet? What do you want the most? What's the interview you want the most?
Jimmy Page.
There you go. Boom. So if anybody here knows him, I actually know some people that follow the channel that have known Mr. Page in the past. Get on that.
It'd be great.
Yeah. Tom Buraz says, what software do you use to play the stems for what makes a song great? You're doing that right from Pro Tools, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just right in your recording software.
Yep.
Dan Bailey from Newark, New York says, in solidarity, he went and put his denim shirt on.
There you go.
With a black t-shirt. My t-shirt is navy, Dan. You know me. Come on, man. Angus Clark.
I had a Levi shirt on, Hypes, and I changed it. So
thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I want to be the Bodkin twins.
That's good. That's good. I'm scrolling here. We got another Northwest Montana. Che Caster's here. Not the Great says, can you please do a What Makes a Song Great on Whiter Shade of Pale? Is that a Blocker song?
It's not.
Yeah.
I've been planning on it. There's a funny story with that.
He says he believes Peter Frampton said it's one of his favorite songs ever.
Best song of all time.
Yeah.
So I got an email one day about 8 months ago or so, and I was watching your top 20 keyboard intros of all time, and your friend Les plays the Whiter Shade of Pale part wrong. He plays a lot of people make this mistake, play this this inversion that he's playing this inversion that's not really there. It should be root position, something like that. And I said, well, the next time that I make that video, I'll make sure I hire you to do it. You think you can learn all 20 songs? It was like, I never respond to anything ever. You think you could learn all 20 songs and play them on camera? And he writes back, he goes, well, I know I could play that one better. I guess you don't recognize my name. And I was like, it can't be the guy from the actually.
Yeah, right.
It was Matthew Fisher, who was the keyboard player on Whiter Shade of Pale.
Oh, that's great.
One of the co-writers in the song, who's 75 years old.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He apologized, and I'm trying to get him to be on the episode.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Well, I know I could play that one better.
That's great. Well, it's like when I did the video about the RG, and you made sure that Steve Vai saw it, and then Steve Vai, I think his account is called like Steve Vai himself or something.
Yeah.
And then he commented, and everybody's like, "That's not really Steve Vai." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Steve Vai." Rick told Steve to, that's funny. That's very funny stuff. We got some top chat here. Michael Mitchell says, "Thanks for being you." We really didn't have any choice, Mike. That's who we got to be. Steve Moore from New Orleans. Your video on lessons is one of the most motivating factor for my music playing, getting back to getting the best teacher I can. I go back and watch that video once a month. I think he's talking about the video where I talk about lessons with you. That's incredible that would be motivating to people.
Nice.
Not just scary. Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Steve. Well, what did John Muhammad says, what advice would you give someone who's a musician who gigs but cannot afford university? You've talked about music school.
Watch YouTube.
Watch YouTube. Learn stuff. Practice. Put in the work. Rick and I were kicking around ideas about a video, and this I told him this Instagram trend that's out there is this thing where they say, don't complain about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. And we were laughing about that. It's like, man, that's right to it. That's to the heart of it. So
that is it.
Time.
And one of the pictures has the weights that are sitting on the ground.
Exactly. Just the gear. I bought the stuff. It's right over there. I bought a guitar last year. It's right there on the stand.
Right.
I'm on it. Yep. Let's see here. Jack's guitar player wants to know if there's any chance of having Jerry Cantrell for an interview on the show.
Definitely a chance. That'll happen at some point, I hope.
There you go.
Love Jerry.
Mike Kretz wants to know what's the process for getting and designing an official signature guitar for Gibson.
Call Dave Honorato. Say, Dave, what's my guitar? What do I want to have on my guitar? I know what color it's going to be. And then they make your prototype.
There you go.
In my case, they made 4 prototypes.
Right. Oh, hey, we got top chat from Mr. Sean Tubbs, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Tubbs in the house. Thanks, Sean. Somebody wants to know, Tom Buraz wants to know if you've reached out to try to interview Tom Scholz. We've talked about this.
I don't know how to reach Tom. If anyone has any suggestions, I would love to have interviewed him, but he doesn't have any social media accounts that I know of, and I don't know who his publicist is. And so, some people, I'd have to know someone that knows him.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Digging for questions here. Lemus wants to know thoughts on hip hop. How close or distant is it to guitar-based genres like rock or blues?
Depends on whether it has rock or blues parts in it. There's that Sting song "Shape of My Heart," the Sting and Dominic Miller's song. Dominic came up with the lick. That's been in about 10 hip hop songs, been sampled and used. So sometimes it's very close.
Jeff Shale says, do we overemphasize the influence of post-1955 music? I've always thought 1900 to 1930 saw more changes musically and culturally than the preceding 60 years that followed. Opinions from you both. Well, I'm the only one who was alive then. Rick's much younger than me.
Much younger.
Interesting.
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you are, whether it's
right, whether the stuff you're interested in now was influenced by that period or the later period. Right?
That's right.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. There you go. Somebody wants to know if Rick's going to be at NAMM. If he is, you won't see him.
I am going to be at NAMM.
There you go. Ed Zielinski says, do you see any way to keep older content alive on YouTube? Rick has an amazing library of theory content and other material. Well, it's always there. If he means how do you get people to go look at it, that's another question altogether.
That is.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Especially when you have so much of it. If I had less videos, it would be easier to find them, but I don't.
Right. All right, I think I'm caught up here. If I didn't catch your
Uncle
question,
Left Eye.
put it again. Uncle Left Eye's back.
Yeah.
He's a very, hey, thanks, man. Top chat.
Thank you.
Just to thank you both. What you do sounds corny, but you find you both inspiring me to play more often. Amen. Well, Left Eye actually broke a wrist last year, and I was telling Rick about you earlier that you were really busy during the time of your healing. I'm glad to hear you're playing again. That's great. It's really good. We got some funny stuff. 5 desert island albums. I always love this question. 5, just 5.
5
desert island records. I did this with my Friends of 5 Watt group actually as an exclusive live stream. We had a lot of fun.
I hate questions like this. I can't. It's very hard to decide what I would.
Favorite jazz record of all time.
Favorite jazz record.
Not most important historically, just for you.
Well, I'll tell you what I was listening to today that I love is Full House by Wes Montgomery.
There you go.
Is that my favorite? I don't know, but I sure love that one.
Yeah.
I see Klaus Ogerman, Gate of Dreams. Definitely Cityscape I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great record. Amazing record.
With Michael Brecker.
Michael Brecker.
Yeah.
There's
Bright Size Life.
That's not my favorite Matheny record. I love Bright Size Life, but I love the Travels record the best, I think.
Okay. The live record.
Yeah.
Okay. Krinar Kilku guitar. Hey, Krinar. Krinar wants to know if it's possible to make it in music, specifically improvised genres like jazz and blues, without reading, but knowing some theory.
Yes.
There you go, Krinar. No excuses now, brother.
Yeah, you don't need to know. You don't need to read to do anything, pretty much. I mean, it's good to learn how to know how to read, but
right.
You don't need to.
Yeah. Perry wonders if you have any particularly strong memories of absolutely wild productions. I assume he means records that were particularly crazy.
Ones that I did, or just in general.
I think that's what he's implying.
I have memories of that. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. He has memories of that.
Yeah.
Answer yes.
I have pretty good. I have a pretty good memory.
You do have a pretty good memory. That's good. Let's see here. Oh,
Rick looks ticked. What's up? You're awesome. I look ticked.
that's right. It's just doesn't love this. This guy from Brazil wants to know any chance on a chapter on Steve Morse and the Dixie Dregs. Thanks. I don't know if he's asking you or me, but
don't know.
Yeah. That we've talked about this a lot. One of the most difficult things is for making short histories is they take so long to make. I have to do it. I have to do topics that I have confidence are going to get enough use to make it worth the time.
Yeah.
Because it's something I love doing, but it's still a job. So that's
a lot of the people that, people like Steve Morse are people I'd like to interview. And, so I would imagine that is probably going to happen. My friend Ward is good friends with him, and said that he would look that up. So
the Pilots Club there, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Our buddy Eric Warrington wants to know what are, for both of us, favorite new rock bands. Well, that's easy for me. I don't listen to enough music. I don't have any favorite rock bands.
Favorite new rock bands. I don't know.
We're either.
I mean, I have some, I love, Animals as Leaders.
Right.
Their new record is great. I've had so many of these bands on lately. A lot of the prog metal bands are rock bands that I love. Polyphia has a new record, which I haven't listened to. But Interval's new record. And so I love a lot of the progressive metal bands.
Yeah. Jeff Lee says, sorry to change the topic, but did either of you get to see Danny Gatton play live?
I did not.
I did not either. No. The one that I usually pull out is, and I usually follow it up with, that's the best thing about being older, is I got to see Miles Davis twice. I mean, it was in the Star People era. I saw Ray Charles. Actually, I saw all of those people outdoors at Canandaigua, right here in the Finger Lakes. It was incredible. And I saw Weather Report. Actually, there's a number of shows that Rick and I were both at. We were both at the Weather Report show at the Eastman Theater in 1979.
Yeah.
Right. With Jocko. Right. With Jocko. And Jocko played Purple Haze. He set up a rhythm on an Echoplex, and then he played Purple Haze. Right. Brought the house down. Staley Explorers wants to know what makes a musical piece inspirational in today's era. Hey, we're talking about, like the hairs on your arm coming up.
Depends on who you are. It depends on who you are.
Yeah.
I mean that I don't mean that in a, being acute at all. Different people react differently to music. People that watch the intro piece, my Lydian Sharp 9 piece, may think it sounds horrible.
Right.
But I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I remembered it. I went and found it today. So crazy.
But
I was infected at a young age, though.
Right.
Well, we were talking last week about how after all this time, you said it'd been a long time since like the hair on the back of your neck stood up, and then you the Sarah McLachlan, Tori Amos record.
Yeah,
and you were just floored after all this time of not listening to it so long, just being knocked out by the record.
It was the song Winter.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. Every week I had a standing weekly jazz gig. And on the drive from Owego to Binghamton, I used to listen to Kind of Blue every week. Well, sometimes the Pat Metheny live trio record. But when on the tune All Blues, when he goes from brushes to sticks, when he starts laying into the ride cymbal with chord notes, the hair on the back of my neck still stands up all these years later. It's just so solid. It's just incredible. So Alt Grendel wants to know, Rick, what genre of music do you listen to that would surprise them? What do you listen to that would surprise people?
Let's see here. Hair metal. I listen to I don't know how it came up. I was playing Billy. Billy's like, why haven't you done any more hair metal videos? And I said, I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it. He said, there's just so many bands. He goes, you like that stuff, don't you? I'm like, yeah, I do. I don't know why I haven't done any. And then I put on this band Slaughter, Fly to the Angels. And Billy's like, what's this? I was like, this is so great. Like, what kind of vocals are those? I said, it's like kind of Robert Plant-esque vocals, but
that's great.
Yeah, I love
cheesy hair. There's any truth to the rumor that Rick is going to change the name of his channel to 50,000 Watt World? I don't know where that rumor got started.
I like that. Yeah.
Perry wants to know if Mateus Asado is actually that good in person. That good.
He absolutely is. There were no edits in the video. He can play all that stuff. He's amazing.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. Brett Pop is in the house. Rick, when are you going to get Neil Schoen on the channel?
Neil's kind of a tough guy to get on the channel. I've talked to him a number of times and I'm not sure what the I don't know. Don't know. He said he would, but nailing it down is tough.
Right.
Probably have to go through his manager, I would imagine, who I've written to and I've never heard back from.
Yeah. Ed Reba's asking for the hype story. Ed, you came in a little late. I told that story at the top of the hour. Reach out to me. I'll tell you the story sometime. I'll get on a call with you. Let's see.
I still think it's funny, Hypes, that somebody thinks I'm ticked about something.
Well, somebody else wrote right under that. I saw him on a podcast yesterday. He always looks that way.
Exactly. What? Oh, he saw me on the Create Unknown podcast?
I think so. He said he saw you yesterday. So
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I had to laugh because somebody says, people always comment, they're like, I can't watch because your mustache is crooked. And I always say the same thing. I'm like, it's not the mustache, it's my face. My face is that shape. It's like, that's all it is. Give me a break. OT Os wants to know, any chance that you try to have a chance with Robbie Krieger while he's still around?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Eric Warrington wants to know, who's top female guitarist in rock and blues today and days past? Well, Rick and I were talking earlier today about Bonnie Raitt. Pretty hard to not have her on the days past. Sure. She's still on the road. She's amazing.
Not only guitarist, one of the best singers of all time as well.
Great interpreters.
Love Bonnie.
Larkin Poe. Those girls are amazing.
They're great. Absolutely great.
I missed it. Somebody asked earlier what we thought of the sort of emergence of Marcus King.
Marcus King's a great guitar player. He's been here in the studio before. When he was 16 years old, he came by with his dad.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Did they make a record with you or?
No, but they were talking about it. But this was pretty much when it was years ago when my YouTube channel was starting. So
cool.
Right around my retirement from producing.
Yeah, because you're so retired now.
Right.
Lloyd Williams wants to know, any chance of Rick getting an interview with Ringo?
Yes.
There you go. Yes. The answer is yes.
There's a chance.
Yeah. Clint Doan wants to know, what do you think of the current guitar buying boom? Do you think it will lead to the rebirth of rock and roll as popular music?
I don't know. Don't know. Kids have very different experiences nowadays, and one of the experiences that they don't have is with guitar music. For the most part, most kids don't.
Right.
Even my kids.
Yeah, it was us listening to guitar music that made us want to play guitar.
Yeah.
Right. That was the motivation.
So for it to come back, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I'm not a futurist. I said that yesterday in that podcast I was on.
That's not your day job.
It's not my day job. I cannot predict the future.
That's good. That's really good. There's a question here. Oh, somebody says, well, if we're talking about Ringo, what about Paul?
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody's possible, I would say, at this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Brock Wilson says that you look uninterested and bored.
I'm freezing, actually. That's why. Maybe that's why.
They got the music, the air cranked up there.
Oh my God, the studio is so cold right now. That's why I'm shaking my legs and
you only got 4 minutes to go, Hypes.
and it's cold in here.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Ed's pushing hard for the story. Ed, I told you reach out, man. I'll get on a telephone call with you. I'll tell you that.
Hypes, how can I be uninterested and bored?
I don't know. I didn't say it. He said it.
Do I seem bored? I'm like, I know I always am, right?
It's exactly. This is how what the other guy say. This other guy knows. This is how Rick looks.
This is how I look all the time.
Steel Samurai wants to know, do you think grunge will make a comeback? Maybe plaid.
I don't know. Grunge clothes or grunge music? I don't know.
I don't know. Did enough artists survive the period? So
not with those bands.
Yeah, no, not those guys, right? The guitars of Rick Beato. Uncle Left Eye, there's actually a series of 3 videos on Rick's second channel where he and Dave go through the entire guitar collection. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
You should go watch.
I learned so much.
Right. He was telling you about him. Exactly. That's good. All right.
Hypes, that kind of bothers me a little bit about the people think that I would be bored.
Aw.
Like, how could I possibly be bored?
I know. Well, we were doing questions the whole time, but I actually.
I keep looking over at. I have my phone here that has the chat on it.
Yeah. Right.
That's why I keep. People probably are mistaking me looking over, reading the chat.
That could be
for being bored, but
yeah, I gave myself a pep talk to really focus on the questions to share, because I talk to you all the time and we never have time. We never have trouble filling an hour.
You seem bored and far away eyes. Okay.
So maybe you're looking off screen.
That's what it is. It's okay. So now I'm looking here, but I probably still look bored since I'm not looking up there. I couldn't figure out how to get the chat on the screen.
Right. Next to your head. Or next to my head.
I'm going to read some questions here, Hypes. Can have a minute?
Take it. You got 2 minutes to go here.
Okay. A Guthrie Govan interview would be interesting to say the least. That's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that that's a possibility, distinct possibility. When will I make a video about Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys? I'm not sure when, but I will. Somebody saw a live stream of me shopping for groceries in the middle of the night, and I looked exactly the same. I did. On my second channel, I went and I was looking for plastic.
How did I miss that?
Oh yeah, this is back in 2018 on my second channel.
God.
I went down to the grocery store and got on my live chat and I was shopping at midnight or so.
Okay.
Filling up my cart and I looked exactly the same. The guy said, right? Who said that? Yeah. OTOSS. Yeah.
There you go.
I'll repeat what I said before those misses. Some years ago, I saw Rick's live stream himself shopping for groceries in the middle of the night, and he looked exactly the same. There you go.
That's just how he looks. That's
how he looks.
Somebody, Generic Stain said a couple of times in the chat, Pat Finnerty collaboration when? I don't know if he's talking to you or to me. I'm embarrassed to admit I don't know Pat Finnerty.
Pat Finnerty is he has a YouTube channel. He's a comedian, I guess you would say.
Okay.
And he has this What Makes This Song Stink series.
Oh boy,
Talks,
that's an interesting concept. I wonder where he got that.
Yeah, but he makes some really funny videos about some horrible songs.
Okay. Do you agree with some of his choices?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His material is
absolutely. So
that's great.
And he's very funny when he rags on him.
That's funny. So what scale mode best describes your mood? This has got to be the closing question.
Mixolydian flat 6.
There you go, people. That's all you need to know.
I didn't hesitate with that, Hypes.
Say again?
I didn't hesitate with that.
No, you didn't. You want to play us a little piece? A little something? Play us
I
out?
don't have anything to play on, but yeah.
You don't have anything to play on.
Well, I don't have anything that's amplified.
Nothing turned on. You got nothing turned on. So yeah. People have said that they're feeling really left out, that they don't have a denim shirt. And I should put a denim shirt in my like Amazon affiliate store. That's
actually a very good idea.
That is a good idea. Yeah. I don't think the Snorlax is in here. It's next door. Oh,
that's a great idea, Hypes, actually.
That's a great idea. Right. The Barstow denim shirt and Snorlax.
Yeah.
Put them up in the affiliate store.
Yeah, I like that.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody, I really want to thank everybody for coming out. Most of all, my good friend, Rick Beato. Thanks for doing this. We've been talking about doing this for a long time. Finally, Rick pressed me, kept saying, when are you going to have me on the show? And
I asked him, so how can I be bored? I was like, when are you going to have me on the show?
Right. That's
because insulted.
We're so excited to be here. And clearly that came through.
I was early, even. I was 30 minutes early.
You were. He was. We were hanging out before. We had him we were hanging out in the green room, and there's no catering or anything. Just out of the kindness of his own heart. There you go.
I went and got a root beer, and that was it.
had to pay for your own catering. That's what it is.
Right.
All right. Well, Rick, thanks a lot. I'm going to put you back in the green room. I'll catch up with you. Take care, man. Bye. And I'm going to put the music I played you in, that cheery ditty. I'm going to play us out with that. Everybody, I'll talk to you soon. And I'm working on the short history of the casino, the Upfront Casino, and that should be out next Thursday. And then we'd be doing a live chat the week after that. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.